case. I started hearing about it around 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and it's been so many things said about what happened. My first time hearing about it, it was Nolan Wells went on a trip with 3 or 4 of his white friends, and he was the only one that didn't come back. And I'm like, that don't even sound right. That they went on a remote island, and he didn't. He was the only one that didn't come back, and it kind of depict his friends as doing something to him. So I'm like, man, I need to do some research, start trying to find out, not through just regular YouTubers, because my thing is about people on YouTube have an agenda. Now, some people are genuine in having educated opinions, meaning that they have some type of facts, and then they may have their opinion, and they can present it in a way of it not being biased or having an agenda. So I try not to listen to a lot of people online, because people have their agendas, and people are trying to make it about race. And I'm like, man, they're his friends, so why is it about race? And then people say, well, you shouldn't let your kids hang out with white people because this is what can happen. And as I've been looking at it and listening, and doing different things, it's a couple people I've been listening to that to me have no bias, and they have no agenda. I don't see a bias or agenda. I just hear them giving their opinions, and that's Ticket TV, and that's Officer Tatum. Now, Officer Tatum, he actually went down there and interviewed the boys personally, like in person. And he went on the island, I guess to see, how it looks out there. I learned that the island is federal land. So Mississippi doesn't own the island, it's federal land. So that's why the FBI probably are involved, because it is federal land. And I thought the island was a small island, but it's 13 miles long. So it's like a 13-mile long island with treacherous waters. They said waters that they call it like the washing machine effect, where you can get in the water and it's like a big drop off, because they have no way to anchor the boats. They have to anchor the boats like off the island, like a little bit off the island. And some people say that the water um goes from 5 feet to up to your shoulders to 31 feet, and it's the drop off. Because it's an island, it has to be a drop off somewhere, because it's an island. It's like a sand island, and it's made of different things. And yes, it's going to be a drop off. That is the ocean. So it's different than you being in a lake, where a lake, you can go out on a lake, you know what I'm saying, so far, and you can still not have a big drop off, right? And having these treacherous waters. But Officer Tatum, he did go out there and he interviewed the boys, and they were talking about some of the things that people have been saying online, like they're not real friends. Like I'm kind of wondering, like, why y'all keep saying that they're not friends? Because people keep on saying this. I heard people keep saying that they're his so-called friends, but come to find out, he's been knowing some of these guys since grammar school, and some of them he met in high school. So they obviously his friends. And then you need a boat to go to Horn Island. Is 10 miles off, the shore. So you have to have a boat. And unless you know the person that's operating the boat and you're friends with him, or you must be friends with somebody that he's friends with. Otherwise, you're not getting on the boat. I don't know why people don't understand this. You're not going to get on someone's boat if they don't know you, or they don't, or they know somebody that knows you that knows them. That's the only way you're going to get on the boat. And let me make this perfectly clear. Yeah, I know you can't see me. Let me make this perfectly clear. If a white person doesn't like you, you're not going to be hanging around them. That's the same thing with a black person. If a black person don't like a white person, they're not gonna be having the white person hang around them, be in their friend group, and go out on trips and go to an island on a boat. Like, he obviously are friend. Now, what level of friends he is with them, I don't know, but he's obviously friendly with them. At the very least, he's friendly with them. So people made it seem like he went out on an island with strangers, like he didn't know them. Like, that's why I said never listen to anyone online, because you don't know what kind of agenda they have. You can go look up information. You know what I'm saying? You have to go look up the information yourself. Then form your own opinion off that information. Forming your opinion off of other people's opinions, it's like it makes no sense. You don't have no point of reference. But anyway, Officer Tatum went out there and interviewed the guys, and the guys kept saying that he left. They left. They asked him to come with them, and he didn't want to go with them because he wanted to stay back because he wanted to talk to a girl. So he wanted to talk to a girl, a young lady that he met on that day. And people say, well, why would he ever stay back? I know his father came out and said, if you leave with a group, you come back with a group. Now, I was taught that when I was younger. If we go as a group, come back as a group. But I've been in situations, I know many people been in situations to where it's like when you go out to a club with your friend, right? They just so happen went to a beach. Went to a island. If you go to a club with your friend, and guys can relate to this. Sometimes one of your friends meet a girl, and when we're about to leave, he says, "I catch up with y'all tomorrow or later." He wants to kick it with the girl. And people are like, that's a foreign thing. That happens all. What would make you stay back on an island and your friend's about to leave? What would make a guy stay back and his girl's on the island? A girl. A girl is most likely is the thing that will make you stay back, because we all know as young men, we will ditch our friends for a girl. It has happened. Either I did it or somebody did it to me when I went out with that person. So that's not like foreign. Like, people act like that's a foreign concept for him to stay back. And he knew other people on the island. So it's not like, now I'll see if he didn't have a ride back. He wouldn't have stayed on the island with the girl if he didn't have a ride back. He obviously knew other people out there. Remember, 3 boats went out there. All 3 boats went out there. So, and he knew other people out there, because this not Nolan's first time at the island. That's another thing, that if you listen to people online, they will have you think that this is his first time going to the island. No, this was not Nolan's first time going to the island. He had went previous year. And a lot of people that go out there, he knows, because he grew up out there and he went to school with a lot of people. So just because he went with some of his best friends, that doesn't mean he didn't have other people out there to where he can ride back. And then they said often people ride out there with one person and ride back with another person. They had to leave because their boat was having issues. I guess it was like 4:30. They got out there about 10. 4 o'clock rolls around. They find out something wrong with the boat. They want to get the boat towed in, or they got to fix the boat or whatever. So they said that they were about to leave. They told Nolan to get on the boat multiple times. He said no. What you want them to do at that point? You want them to grab him and throw him on the boat? Like, he's 18 years old, so they can't make him get on the boat. Now, they can ask him to get on the boat. Like, come on, man, we finna leave. You want to, ride back with us? He said no. So that's a dead issue right there. He wanted to stay, and he has the right to stay as an adult. He's 18 years old. He's a young adult, very, very young adult, but he nevertheless, in the law's eyes, he's an adult, so he can stay back. So they said they left at 4:30, and I guess they went, they went back to shore. Well, they had to get their boat fixed, and they got the boat fixed, and they went back to shore. he said about 11 o'clock so he called Nolan's mother and asked, was Nolan back yet? She said no. Um, People say, so why would he call her and ask her if Nolan's back? Well, because he knows about that time nobody's on the island, and most people are going to leave before it get dark because you don't want to be boating back to shore. You know what I'm saying? 10 miles off the coast at night. I mean, you know what I'm saying? The water, the waters get more treacherous at night because we know, at night the beach or the ocean, it acts different than it does in the daytime. Because of the night. The currents come in heavier. So you want to get back to shore. So he knew by his own experience of going out to Horn Island that no one is going to be out there at that time. So he went he called his mother. She said no, he wasn't back yet. So then he called the Coast Guard because he said he was worried about his friend because he said that people have been known to drown at Horn Island, before. And my thing is this about Horn Island: that's a dangerous place because it's no life form on the island. There's no restrooms, there's no houses, there's no electricity, there's no cameras, and you got young people going out there, thousands of young people out there. You got girls out there, and you got drinking out there. So what people think is going to happen out there, you got all those elements with no oversight. Like you have no oversight, and you got young people, girls, and the first thing I said is, I know it was fights out there. It's going to be fights out there. You have young people out there, high testosterone. You got girls out there, and you got possibly drinking. That's a recipe for fights, commotion, people getting into it with each other because there's other people from that's the Gulf Coast, so it's other people from other areas coming down there, not just people from Nolan Wells and his friends area. It's people coming from all over. That's the whole Gulf. So I'm like, that's a recipe for a disaster. But anyway, going back to when he called the Coast Guard. So he said that people have been known to drown out there, and then I looked it up. It's like a couple people drown a year or so out there. It's like that's a lot of people to be drowning out there. To me, it's federal land. I don't understand, either they shouldn't allow people to go on the island anymore, or they should have um some type of law enforcement on that island, at least on the days. Well, they say it's heavy on Memorial Day, 4th of July, and stuff like that. I don't understand why they don't have no type of law enforcement out there, because anything can, what I'm saying, anything can happen out there. You have no eyes on these people that's out there. And go back to where he said that he called the Coast Guard. So he said he went to sleep, woke up. I guess they all got together, got in the boat, and they was going to go down there and see if they can see what happened to him or see if they see him. But nevertheless, they didn't find him, and I think they end up finding him like a couple days later. The Cajun Navy ended up finding him a couple days later. He was washed ashore. So then they did an autopsy and all that. And then I started hearing about his parents came out and said that they wasn't getting the right answers. That's a understandable thing. If you lose a loved one, you want to know what happened. You want the authorities to do the proper investigation, that's understandable. Anybody in that position will want the law enforcement to do the proper investigation for their loved one. And they didn't think that proper investigation was going on, so they got Ben Crump, the silver attorney, and he came in. They started doing press conferences and all that. But my only thing about the press conferences, when they're doing the press conferences, I have no problem with you saying we want a thorough investigation. But when you say it's about race, like he kept saying, and we all know the dog whistles, right? He kept saying Nolan Wells went out there with four. He didn't say four of his friends and just leave it at that. Just say four friends. He said Nolan Wells went to the island with four white friends, and he was the only black guy in the group, and he was the only one that didn't come back. We all know that dog whistle is okay. Now, so what? So what? You saying something about race? You saying they did something to him because of race? Like, what are you like? What are you saying when you say that statement? Because you know when you say that statement that people are going to be like, hold on. So are you going to say that it's a racial thing when it came out that there was other black people on the island? Of course, it's more white people on the island than black people, but he was not the only black person on the island. I'm not on the camera. I'm not on camera. I'm not on camera. I'm off camera, so I'm not going to be able to zoom in. So you can't see me on this video. I'm doing this video off camera. I'm in my car anyway, so I'm doing it off camera. I don't have good lighting in my car anyway, so I might as well just not do it on camera. But yeah, it's a whole. It was a whole thing about race. It's like I'm cool if we get to the bottom of it and we find out it's about race. Then I'm with you. I'm like, okay, man, it was about race. That's not cool. But just to come out and say it's race, it's about race right off the bat. Like it's like, come on, man. Like everything is not about race. I like to get down to the bottom of it instead of speculating it's about race, because when you do that, it brings in people emotions. People get highly emotional over the racial component because of the history of the country. So people start getting irate and overly emotional, and sometimes it's justified, and sometimes it's not justified. So why don't we get to the bottom of it? You said you want them to do a thorough investigation, and let's see if it's about race. It could just be about young men out there on the island. Either he drowned or someone did something to him on the island. Those his friends were already gone. They were already off the island. So I know later, a couple days later, 4 days later, this one young lady, she did she I guess she took the noise at the background of the sea tow call, and she wrote on the side the things that she thought she heard. Because when I first heard the sea tow call, I couldn't hear I couldn't hear none of the stuff she was talking about. Maybe a couple things, but all the other Nolan and can you Bart, what did you do to him and all that stuff? I didn't hear none of that stuff on there. And the first thing I said, this is not authenticated. I was like, how can she's not authorized to take down the noise and put it online and say is this, is that, without it being authenticated. It's not authenticated, so you cannot, that's not like a, you know what I'm saying, a that's not proof of anything, because you will have to let the state or Ben Crump, or both the state and Ben Crump, to get their specialists and have them have their forensic team analyze the tape and see what's on there. And then that tape just took a life of its own. Now everybody start using that tape as a point of reference. They start using that tape, and they start building their opinions off that tape. And I'm like, why are you building your opinion off that tape if it's not authenticated? Now it comes to find out, now we are days later, and I remember Ben Crump coming out and said that he has the original copy, and he was going to get his people to break down the tape and see, what they hear on it. He hasn't said anything else about it. And that was like about a week or so ago. So I don't know if he did it or not, and nothing was on there. Because I'm pretty sure if something was on there, I'm pretty sure that he probably would announce it. He was announcing everything else. I'm pretty sure he would announce it. I'm pretty sure the state put their forensic team on it, and then they probably found nothing about it. Like I said, I told people, if in fact that his friends were not there, and then they said there's people, it was sightings on the island saying that Nolan Wells was there on the island at 6 o'clock, and his friends left at 4:30. They can sue that girl. Like they can really sue her, and they can sue people for defamation. I know people don't understand online. If you can't just say what you want to say online about people. You have to know that what you're saying, when you say somebody did something to someone and you saying it as a matter of fact, you have to be absolutely correct, or the person can sue you for defamation. I know I would sue people for defamation. If you say I did something to someone and it's proven as a fact that I couldn't have done anything to that person, I'm suing you for defamation. When you making countless of videos saying I did this and did this and did that and did this and did that, and turns out that I couldn't have done it because I wasn't even in the area, yes, I am suing you for defamation. But anyway, yeah, man, that was my whole introduction to the case. And lately, nah, I don't really listen to a lot of I really don't look at a lot of YouTube channels about the case, because to me it's turning into the Carmelo Anthony case all over again, where people just they interject in race right away. Like, let's see if it's about race first before we interject race. But let me know what y'all saying, man. Like I said, um, this case has taken a life of its own, and what people are doing, we're trying to get to the bottom of what happened to Nolan Wells, that young man that lost his life. We're trying to get to the bottom of what happened to him actually, and you got people out here just saying just anything, which is not even helping. That's it. When you start saying all this silly stuff, it's cool to have an opinion, but when you say for sure, okay, like the person I've been that he dropped a lot of videos about it too. That's Willie D. Everybody know Willie D, right? He came out and said that he thinks that one of his friends did something to him. That he's positive. I don't know, and I'm saying to myself, Willie D, how are you positive that one of his friends did something to him? How are you positive? Like, you didn't even say maybe or no, you're positive. Like, you have to be very, very careful. You have to be very, 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 very careful. Now, he has had some attorneys on his podcast, and this one attorney that was on there, it was this black attorney on there, and he was trying to tell Willie D, like, we have to wait for the facts to come out. Like, we don't even have enough facts to say what happened. I don't even have enough facts even close to say what happened. You have to have some type of, we need more information. It's like a lot of information, a chunk of information is not there to make a determination. But let me know what y'all say, man. I say wait for more facts to come out. Now we just waiting for the autopsy to come out from the state. Ben Crump did an independent autopsy that came out. It was undetermined. So we have to wait for the autopsy to come out, and then this investigation is still going on. The cops they said the police had interviewed 60 people. I'm figuring that they probably ended up interviewing more than that, because if you interview 60, then you probably can get. I'm pretty sure when they talk to those people, those individuals, they can get more people that was on the island, so they can possibly interview more people that was on the island, because they said it was thousands of people out there. So my thing is, somebody had to see. Now that's my only thing about the whole thing is, I don't know what happened to him, but I'm fairly certain that somebody seen something. Like, somebody seen something. I'm not saying somebody killed him or this or that, or it wasn't an accident. It could have been an accident. Somebody could have did something to him. But somebody had to see something. You can't tell me he was the only one left on the island by himself. Like somebody left him out there. So somebody had to see something. I'm not saying, once again, that someone did something to him, because it could have just been an accidental drowning. It could have been an accidental drowning. But somebody seen something. And that's all I'm saying. I'm out, y'all.